much indeed. It was an interesting, a different spin. And for those who are familiar with manufacturing process, Kaizen is a term that's probably familiar to you, and some interesting new terms there. I'd like to ask you, introducing you to Garry Connolly, who's the president of Host in Ireland, and I think intellectual property is quite an important part of pharmaceuticals. So, hand you over to Garry.
So I'm not going to talk at all about intellectual property. Thanks a minute. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thanks Roman for the opportunity. Thanks Paula for chasing me all around the world. And yes, the chairs are so comfortable scale. I know that we're waiting until afterwards for questions, but I really have to ask you a question. When did Dublin move to Westmeath or Kildare or somewhere like that? Certainly the link. We're on the coast. I know one more, it's on the coast. So, before I begin, I have a question for all of you. Because it's very simple. Data centers can be complex, data can be complex. But if you understand what these are, you're 3/4 of the way to understanding. I'm going to fill it in here after the presentation. Many people in the room recognize that. Right? Visualize it. Many people in the room recognize that. Wow, some fellas here are putting their hands up there, it's not alive for years. And many people recognize that. Okay. Think about what they are. Think about what they do. Think about what they meant to you. That's a data center. That's actually a data center. It's just the evolution of the data center was these. We've gone online. We've gone to the stage where we have it all accessible on our mobiles, on our PCs. But what I have in my pocket, in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, that was a data center. So there's no mysticism about it. I'd like to start my own deck. Space?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Doesn't work. Anyway, I'm a techno. That's to go wrong, right? Okay. I have a very fancy title and very low budget. And what we've done is we've put together the whole marketplace to discuss data centers, but more so on this data aspect rather than the center side. It's not really the forum you might think for a data center guy or a hosting guy or a data guy to talk, but what we want to do, and today I want to get across, I'm going to go through a little bit of history, I'm going to go through a little bit of geography, I'm also going to go through a little bit of sport, but finally what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to look to see when we collaborate. Because data, whether you know it or not, is eating the world. It's everything. Data is everything. Access to data, storing data, manipulation of data. 20 years time, like my 6-year-old child at the moment. She doesn't know what the cloud is. To her, it's just it's at the end of a phone or it's at the end of a mobile. It's only this generation that actually, oh, well, I used to have it on site and I used to have it in my pocket and I used to have it. 20 years time, it's like electricity. A lot of people hear from the electrical world. 100 years ago, they used to generate their own electricity, and they're obsessed about their own SLAs. Who generates their own electricity bar GSA? People die. Most of us just consume it. This is where the cloud is going. Okay. I usually walk around, so I feel like a bird with on the swing. So this is a really, really brave slide. I hope you agree. Because if Arsenal had to whack these guys 6-0 last night, I wouldn't look like a right did. But generally, over the last 20 years, our friends in Barcelona have won the Champions League. They've won it 5 times in the last 10. They're likely to win it again this year, and they'll probably win it 5 times in the next 10. But this reminds me of the data center industry in Ireland. We get Apple and they announce a big data center, or Facebook announcement, and everybody goes, oh, how did we suddenly become the best in the world? These guys didn't become the best in the world just because of the new coach. It started in the 70s. This dude came along. And he said, we're going to just tear it all up. We're going to look at the way football's played. We're going to look at this 4-4-2, 5-5-1, all this type of nonsense. We're going to fundamentally change the structure of how football is taught, implemented, and now seeps through the club. Even kids that leave Barcelona go on to be great players. So this is the concept I'd like to get across to you today, is that Ireland hasn't just become a location for hosting data. We've always been. And it started in the 60s. So, you think it's not affecting you? Have a look at your desk. Have a look at what you're carrying around in your pocket now. Would I have to have a forklift truck 20 years ago, 15 years ago? Everything is going into digitalization. Every single thing. It's not a single thing you had in your desk in the 70s that you can't now have. Sorry guys, go over and back. That you can't have in your pocket. So ultimately, you can think it's not affecting you, of course it's affecting you. And it's making you more efficient. Okay, you might be up all night, you might be making emails, but it is making you more efficient. Because the clever ones are not among you, I don't put myself in that, will just find something else to do and use this as your tool. This is all this is. Access a tool. Just because the ballpoint pen came along didn't mean that Brendan Bean didn't suddenly become obsolete. You know, tools don't make you great. My father was a terrible mechanic. He used to say he was a terrible mechanic. But he was a very clean mechanic. And all his bosses used to say, I love Bill, he's a great guy. He's a shit mechanic. God rest him. Data, right? It's everywhere. Every single time you walk in, this dude here is putting me on the internet, probably being simulcasted all over. That goes somewhere. It goes to a data center, and then it goes to the end user. It's going at you in all directions. We in the technical business, we make up words to confuse you. So we call all this called big data. What's that? So what's little data? No, there's no little data. It's just a new word for a spreadsheet. Anybody else worked in spreadsheets in the 80s? Wow, what generated that was. Consolidating information, and you change one cell and change down. That's big data. Big data is on steroids. The difference, though, is the 3 B's. It's coming at you at such velocity, variety. You can't cope with it. That's the problem. And obviously, then, a variety of different feelings. My example recently was the Super Bowl. And if you don't think that you're being conditioned by data, there's 5 ads made for the Super Bowl that's just got by Coke. They had one that was going out an hour before, one going out 10 minutes before, one going out at halftime. 2 going out at halftime. They were able to analyze through messages that were going out in the 2 before the Super Bowl, which one of the 4 they'd already made that would go in the middle. What was resonating with the audience? What were the audience tweeting, liking, Instagramming, etc. So they were able to go right down. That's the use of data. So this is another example. You think that big companies create a lot of data? Not really. Small companies create an awful lot more. WhatsApp is an example of an organization that didn't exist 5 years ago. Now there's 4 guys, each worth 4.4 billion each. They sold to Facebook. They were generating as much data every day, every single day, 15 billion digital transactions. Their footprint, 25 guys, was the same as CNN, CNBC, back catalogue aggregated, ever. They were doing every single day. So that's 25 guys. So I want also you to think about that for a second, is that over the years, it had to be a big company to create a lot of data. Now it's changed. So, put it in context. I'm simple. I'm an ex-techie. Think about this for a second. If a grain of rice was a kilobyte, probably your average word file. When you hear people talking about zettabytes, so when your IT guy tomorrow says to you, oh, we need an exabyte, a terabyte, and all the rest, you can actually go back and say, how many cups of rice is that? Oh, he only thinks in a certain way. It can do his head in. But this is how we have to think about data. It's taken over the world. That's a given. It's what you do with it. How you interrogate it. Shit in, shit out. You don't put in the right information with the right filters, then you're going to get results. But this is just to give context how much of this stuff is actually coming around the world. To tell you, I didn't know this until I did this investigation. But you can fit the whole of the world's land masses into the Pacific. I didn't know that. It's 3 miles deep. So we're talking about 11 point something amounts of these. And by the way, you'll see loads of contradictions in my slides. Later on I say it's 22, and somewhere else I say it's 20. We don't know. We just don't know. EMC doesn't know, IDC doesn't know, Gartner doesn't know. Guess why? Because every time there are friends in Huawei or developing these little lads, and they put a 48 megapixel camera in, that just increases the whole thing. Every time my 6-year-old suddenly then said, do you know that I'm bored with Minecraft? I want to do a camshaft on YouTube, give me an instruction. It's just taking over their life. These 6, 7, 8-year-olds see this stuff just like tools, like the spanner, like the pen. So it's increasing all around you. If you think you're not affected by it, if you think you're not in the data business, if you think that your next job is going to be a data-related job, then you're a linesman in a soccer pitch or something. Everyone in this room, everyone feeding into this room is affected by data. And your industry is no different, and I'll come on to that in a second. If you think that this data isn't being used, I'm going to say it because I'm allowed. I'm nearly 50, I'm not a startup. It's disruption. Jeez, I lasted 8 minutes when I say disruption. The availability of data, the access to data, the fact that you can start today and have a multi-billion-dollar organization called a unicorn, all this nonsense going on, in a year, is because you can get tools and access information and access without investing any capital. It's called the cloud. 10 years ago, you'd have to have VC behind you with $20 billion investing in all the kit. These guys don't own anything. And look what they're able to do. So the pharmaceutical industry, probably no different. The manufacture of the drug and all that type of stuff is very important, but ultimately can we actually generate drugs that we can get to the end user that's prepared to pay $50 rather than half a dollar or 10 cents or 3 cents. Business for everybody. These guys are going to, this mentality is taking over the world. And the key thing for these guys is they absolutely obsess about the end user. Every day. I'm an end user, I go all around the world and live off these guys because they obsess about me. There's no rules, it's just me. So, Ireland, data centres, read the press. Ireland is the capital of data centres. Data is the new oil. You know when we send out that message, Ireland is data centres with energy and free air cooling and all that nonsense about the weather? What we're saying is we make great barrels. That's what we're saying. We make great barrels. In this analogy. Our barrels are the best barrels ever. But guess what? If you don't have oil, data, you don't need barrels. I can manufacture these anywhere in the world. Very few really successful, long-term, sustainable petrochemical industries that manufacture the barrels there, they buy them somewhere else cheaper. So think about the messaging here. We're great for the barrels in this whole analogy. Data centers can be made like anything in the world. We're at 20 years now of this type of stuff. They can be made in factories, they get shipped in on a 20-foot container, and then zip all this thing about we're able to get nice flat land, we're able to nonsense. Hotels, 20 years ago I spoke with like those 5-star hotels, and he said never in a million years will a hotel with 5-star finish be prefabricated. I don't know if you ever sat inside the Four Seasons when we were making it. And the guys came with the crane and the pod, they dropped, they put it together, 5-star hotels and then made in factories. It's efficiency, it's like your own businesses. I'm sure you drive out efficiencies. If you haven't learned stuff in the last 20 years, you're not more efficient now than you were there, you do it with less price to get out of the business, you're not in the right business or shit. So, this is how we look at data centers now. This is my lifetime. Imagine that, my lifetime. I could go at 5 p.m. me, my mom, my dad, and all the rest. We could go and tour the airport and look at a plane. These people aren't just going around, paying money, looking at an airplane. Wow, look at the crane, it's a prop, it goes up in the air, it lands somewhere else. Can you imagine that this day and age? Going out, I actually do remember going up and playing up and down. So that's how we look at data centers now. Whoa, Alton Ryan, another big data center. Whoa, Facebook, bloody and all the rest. And what's that we're talking about? It's front page news. Project ourselves 20 years and we're going to look back and we're going to be embarrassed with our kids. Because it doesn't matter. The centres don't matter. The buildings, even our chat before, talked about ducts and foundation, etc. It doesn't matter what goes on inside that matters. So remember, the data centres matter enough. The same way as the barrel matters oil. The data is the oil. So Ireland, why are we only getting started in this whole thing? You might think that's a contradiction because of all those press releases. Because this is like the Irish landscape, give or take, for foreign direct investment. Ireland doesn't have an indigenous data centre industry. We have 4 million people, we're servicing 550 million people. It's just, do the maths. We don't have a data centre industry or hosting industry locally. If we do, it's for the 4 million consumers. This is a consumer-led. The more consumers you have, the more devices you have, the more this, that, the more content you have. And these are the drivers, and 80% of them, including, I would suggest 95 to 98%, maybe even more, pharmaceutical companies don't have any data here. None hosted here. Even though the same advantages are in here for pharmaceutical-related data or genome-related data or compliance-related data as the IT guys. So what I'm trying to do today, and thank you, Ron, for inviting me, is to try and get you to think about like what Intel did. Intel, if they were still doing what they did in the 80s when they came here, would be out of business. I'm not suggesting Armageddon for all the people in this room or people servicing it, but there are cheaper places to make those, I'm sure. You need to put your hand up and say, do you know what, there's an absolute tsunami of data coming down the pipe. Why don't we host the data here within the digital shield now, the safe harbor agreement, host them here, servicing, manipulated, all that type of stuff. You're on the cusp of something really great if we can actually tap into it. So 80% of all of these guys don't host any data here. When did it start? I'm going to really go through here so you get the sense. It started thousands of years ago. Ireland had the first, this, that, and the other between first transatlantic cable, actually. But unfortunately, they forgot about the engineers in the room, they called passengers between two geographic. They wiped out the station down in Valencia. Blew up, 2 fellas got killed because the electrons started flowing and blew people up. More realistically, though, we started on this journey, and this is why I wanted to demonstrate with floppy disks. We started on this journey around. Where's the office? Where's the point of that? We started in this journey, mainframe computers all the way through. Unfortunately, I came in around here, somebody else came in somewhere else, but that was the whole idea of floppy disk and all the rest. IT is the same as it was. I started in IT 20 years ago, and my first mentor gave me Animal Farm. Imagine that. I'm pumped up with basic COBOL, Pascal, RPG, I want to get going, and he hands me Animal Farm. I said, what are you doing? And he said, you understand Animal Farm? 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. You understand the IT industry. It'll always come back to itself. And guess what? We're nearly back to ourselves again. Mainframe is a cloud. Think about it. Different cloud is a cloud. We've looked at all these iterations in between, and we've arrived back on an always-on centralized data center. Imagine the billions that we've all spent in the middle with all this stuff. So, how's Ireland done with regard to this wave? Every single consecutive time, we've always been. I spoke to some kids in the university recently, and I said to them that IBM used to be cool. They couldn't believe it. Motorola used to be cool. Bang, Nixdorf. They used to be the Googles of their day. They couldn't believe it. But guess what? The guys today, Google, Amazon, whatever they're called now, Alphabet, they'll also be forgotten in 10 years. That's the speed we're moving at. So Ireland's always been able to demonstrate, and that's the floppy disk. This was the tape drive, this was the floppy disk, this is the cloud. It's just an evolution of what we're doing. And we haven't even got near this stuff yet. Where we're going to be, machines are going to dictate to machines what another machine will do, and we're going to stop by a cop and crank out a clue. This is coming down the tracks. This is what's going to be the new world, when machines start generating data to correlate with other machines, generate more data. Lots of Pacific Oceans fall off twice. That's the evolution of it. This? Yeah. I brought, to one of my university lectures, I brought a pencil and a tape. And I said, does anyone in the room know what the correlation is between them? And not a single one did. Yeah? A lot of you know that. You've got to remember that what we're at is just a stepping stone to somewhere else. Nobody cares about what we're doing now, right? So we've got tons and tons of data centers, we've got all the technologies, we've got the innovation, we've got some of the best brands in the world. Data centers need 2 things. They need energy, electrons, and they need access to change the electrons to photons. And then it goes out in the fiber optic cable, and then it comes back in the fiber optic cable to photons, and straight back to electricity, electrons. Simple. Same as this actually, same, that's all that is. So that's all you need. So wherever the confluence is in any geographic location between energy, electrons, and how you get the stuff in and out, photons, is where you get the data center industry. Ireland, Dublin was the spot because the IDA and friends, they bought a cable from America, 89. That's the landscape. There's a small company called Apple after just going solo, but they can do whatever they want. Same as all the other guys can do what they want. They can go to Mars if they want. It doesn't matter. Economies of scale don't matter. Same way like Kia doesn't matter when they're deciding their locations. Different to concession stands, the small units that have to go to an open shopping centre. You would nearly believe, that that's all that's in Ireland, right? Read the press. Google, Microsoft, Apple. Is that what gets the amplification? That's what ticks all the boxes. But in actual fact, there's equal amounts of what's called co-location for the smaller guys. Pfizer's and all these guys, they co-locate, they don't have enough capacity to build their own Amgen, and they come into Ireland, they looked at it, and they said, what are we going to do? We don't build our own, we just co-locate. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands of opportunity. That's why the 80% won't build their own. These guys build their own, same way as IKEA build their own. Because pennies don't build their own, they don't co-locate with local shopping centre. So you've got to think that Ireland isn't just actually 50% this stuff, 50% that. The domiciled stuff here, huge opportunities. 95% of it shouldn't be any surprise. I think 80% of all content is North American anyway, so 95% of it sits in Ireland. Why Ireland? You can go through this after. It's a blend of stuff. Like any other foreign direct investment in Ireland. A bit of energy, 40% for 2020, 23% at the moment. The key thing is to understand that this product, the hosting of 2 packets of data, is the same level of security, data protection, compliance as the big guys. Big guys are actually acting as the pedigree for us. We've been doing this for so long. Acts as the base for lots of companies, to do the 5 Ps, and that's where you get the top end. You'll see a lot of competition for cheap energy, but they'll be lacking other aspects. You'll see places that are well connected, but they've got 48% corporation tax. What's wrong with 12.5% corporation tax anyway? Yeah? So I said, people want to get beaten up all over the world by people who say, oh, we'll do a tax saving this and there after you just got with all taxes on their energy. Completely gross cost of energy, 2 cents a kilowatt hour. What's that all about? Same thing. So, huge opportunity. Want people to start engaging, want people to start thinking about, why don't we book a handle and say, where are we going to host our data now as a digital shield from Europe and the US and safe harbor back in action? Now, Ireland. 80% of the industries that are here that call Ireland home. I'm a salesman way back and probably still 80% out of 20%. It's easy to sell to somebody you're already selling to. So going back, and if they're here, you're here, if you're supplying in this industry, health is the fastest growing, pharmaceuticals, life sciences is the fastest year-on-year aggregator in the planet. You think it might be Facebook, you think it might be social media, it's actually this stuff. It's data related to end users. Because you guys have forgotten more about this stuff than I know, but I think we're ending up in 10 years where I don't get a generic pharmaceutical drug, I get a routine drug based on my DNA. As a guy explained to me on a panel once, he said, at the moment you're getting shot with a shotgun, 5 years you're going to be a 20/20 rifle for your specific. Create data beyond belief. Most in Ireland, we're all about collaboration. We're formed by collaborative, it's a co-opetition. It's all the biggest and the best in the industry come together and drop their brands. That is something else. There's nothing like it in Ireland. I haven't very little. Who's paying me to stand here and go all around the world? Industry, no government assistance. We work with the IDA, collaboration is the key. That's why we're here, that's why we're talking, that's why we help out Ronan and Paul at events like this. We'd love to know who the association in Ireland is for pharmaceuticals. Massive opportunity. Guess what? Scandinavia and Holland is eating your lunch every day because they're going back and asking these questions about data. We run events in North America. Again, a lot of the decision makers are sitting here. We've got to go and we've got to meet them. So we run events in North America where we actually go with hosts in Ireland. I'm old enough to remember the good times for Tony O'Reilly when he went into Board Pia. I've never had a unique idea in all my life, ever. Plagiarism way forward, just change it or change the colour of it, and you can take all the credit for it. What I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do in Host Ireland is like what he achieved in 1971, and he said, why are we selling our premier butter to the watermelon along Greece, Spain, Portugal, and all these other places that have inferior butter? Why don't we go back a bit? Put a gold bar around it and say, premier butter. And got the idea when I was flying back from Malaysia on a Vietnamese airline, on a China airline, and I got Vietnamese Irish water. Vietnamese Irish water. Think about that for a second. Branding. Same product that you sell it for nothing, you branded it, that's what Hosting Ireland needs to do. If we put all the brands and all together like we have, and sell the brand of Hosting Ireland in the back of the 5 Ps, that's very unique. You never see it in the world. Anytime I'm speaking on panels, they all come with the cheapest energy. Yeah, well, that's 1 to 5. You've got a great brand, don't walk away from the fact that, or think. So we started off, that's where we are, that's where we need to get to. Forget about the plane. Forget about the plane. Build the whole ecosystem around it, the experience of the end user. And some other geographic locations are like this. They're actually thinking way past the actual centre. They're concentrating on the data. We should do the same. We are doing the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lee. Gary, that was a whistle-stop tour and very interesting. Great to see the connection between energy and data because it is exploding. Now, we have questions coming in. I think if our speakers can grab a mic each, please. What I'll do is I'll give priority to the questions that came in during the talks. And the first question is for Eugene, and it's a question from Peter Hayden. When will the payment amounts for DS3 be finalised?
That's a hard question. It's unclear when they'll be finalised at the moment. They have the option. They're going to go live with tariffs in October 2016, and those tariffs will be finalised within the next couple of months. But they are planning to go to auction from 2017 onwards. They proposed an auction methodology which was horrendously complicated, and everybody's gone back to the regulars and said it won't work. So there's potential, I would say, that we'll stick with tariffs for 2017, and the auctions will be from 2018 onwards. So I'm not really clear yet as to when, tariffs this year, and after that, we're not sure when the auctions will come in.
Thank you. Question for Alan. You mentioned the end performance indicators. You showed some great numbers. There's a number of funders out in the exhibit area who will fund energy savings. I'm just wondering what level of traction you got with those energy performance indicators in terms of securing funding.
Yeah, so we've a number of energy performance indicators for different sites. There's different energy performance indicators. So as we looked at, we've efficiencies. For the farmer site, you can link CIPs to steam and water. With regard to funding for them to get to a level where you need to track your efficiencies, there's not a huge cost involved. If you have the metering in place to allow you to track your efficiencies or identify your significant energy users and link your energy performance to them, the cost is low. If you have to install meters and put in an energy monitoring system, there is funding available. As I mentioned, Veolia fund a lot of energy saving projects, but for the energy performance indicators which I presented, the metering was already on them sites.
Okay, thank you very much. And a question for Adrian from Liam O'Leary, and a couple of questions for you actually, but the first one is, what will the cost be per kilowatt hour for the biomass boiler?
Let's think about it.
That's okay.
I'll catch up with you later. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But there's, I think it's the low 40s.
But Liam can maybe approach you direct and ask.
I'll have to double check
that. And I'll throw the second one at you but after the wood chip boiler goes into operation, what's next for the site? What do you see as the next improvements after Kaizen coming from?
So as I said, we have the wood chip boiler, biomass boiler on site. We're hoping with the wind turbine, which will hopefully be going ahead next year, and solar PV, which we've desktop studies done for, which I think will be next. There will be the renewables, but there's still a number of projects on site to finish out between 2018. We've not about 15 projects to complete, and we'll have our next round of energy Kaizen and hopefully develop another 50 projects for the following 4 years and again to go ahead.
Very good, thank you. And question for Gary. what's your view? The question didn't give their name, but what's your view on the data center market consolidation?
It's just demonstrate the maturity of the industry. That's it. You know, it's a land grab. Why not?
Very good.
I think they're referring to some of the latest acquisitions that are taking place in the industry.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's just an evolutionary thing. It's data center. There's a company called Data Electronics, who are an indigenous Irish company, and guess what? They were bought by a company called Telecity. They were a European company, and they've just been bought by a big American company, Equinix. It's a natural evolution, and it's also a natural evolution where in between the hyperscales, which are the Apple, Microsoft, Google, and the end user consumer, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of risk. They conceptually are concerned of perhaps putting their data somewhere else. So the guy in the middle has to be a serious financial heavyweight. Has to have credibility globally, and more than likely has to be a listed company.
So for the pharmaceutical industry that's gone through an enormous amount of consolidation in recent years, that's probably reassuring more than anything else.
Yeah, but that's the case in point. Equinix are a $6 billion company. They just bought Telecity for $3 billion. And Telecity subsequently recently done acquisitions of smaller. Likewise with another big heavyweight, Digital Realty, they bought Telex. So it's maturity, but it's also a good sign that people are now starting to want to put it into the net.
Great. I've got a few more questions here, but before I ask them, I'll just throw it open to the floor. Anyone like to grab the mic, advertise your company? Yeah. Just Peter over there. If you give your name, your company, and your question, please, and to whom you'd like to address it.
Sorry, where am I heading?
Peter, just over. Yeah. Thanks, Ron.
Peter Moran from AbbVie. I've actually two questions. One of them I have put on the system. The second one is for Alan, and just on the use of energy performance indices, you know, and you showed some good examples there. How perfect do they have to be? You know, you showed one there for building per metre squared, but you know, the variables within that building mightn't be just metre squared. So how perfect, and how do you know, pick your indices? And the second question is for Garry on data centres. You know, what locations are suitable in Ireland for them? Hopefully Sligo is at some stage, you know. So that's the two questions I have.
Great stuff.
Okay, I'll go first. Just on the indices. Thanks, Peter, for your question. I suppose it depends on the individual site, your energy metrics, calculations. So, would say take the example of your energy per square meter example. So, ideally, if you had a warehouse, that could typically work for. So, if you had a 100 square meter warehouse and you were comparing against a site that had double that, you can compare how efficient your warehouse is compared with the other one. So that's typically where we could see that example used, Peter.
Great. And Garry, hosting in Sligo.
Yeah. So let's split the word data center into two words. Data and center. Let's address your question straight up. You can build a center anywhere. Same way as you can build a drug garden, and you can build a pharmaceutical facility anywhere. Do you want to? Is that what the clients want? Are the parameters right? The two parameters that have to be rock solid, world class, and better than anywhere in Ireland or anywhere in Europe, because Ireland is competing against European and world locations. Do you have world class connectivity, diversity of fibre, not just one route, 4 routes to the destination of where the consumer is? That's the first thing. Second thing, and I think it's pretty much okay in Ireland, particularly outside the pockets of the Greater Dublin area. Do you have access to power? Give or take, you know, wait 18 months to go through ESP networks or whatever, you'll get the power. And obviously what was said by the chap from Energy Ireland, the 40% of the story. If we miss that, we're a boost, because we're competing a lot against places that are 100%. But physically, you can put it anywhere. Then you have to look at the next thing, which is the most important, and it's a great question. Most of the people who ask that question are developers in the field, somewhere along a fibre optic cable. And they say, this is a great place. But wrong place to start. Look at the consumer. The consumer of the Irish story is actually in Dewsbury he's in Switzerland, he's in London, he's down there. So the guy that's supplying him with the service wants to have it as close to him as possible. So therefore, they cluster together, moving it to outside of Dublin, it's further away from the market. So it's all about, and then of course, you get Apple and they contradict everything because they can't. There's no infrastructure challenges with Apple. They will buy fibre optic cables. They'll build their own fibre optic cables. They were one of the 4 that put the transatlantic cable recently. They're buying cable. However, that's still only 8 to 10% of the overall market. 90%, including a lot of your parent companies, they're the co-location. And that's where you've got the risk. So yeah, right, and as time moves on, there's going to be all different types of data. Can I answer with one more piece? Facebook, for instance, are building a new data center in Clonee. They recognize that 98-point-something% of all the data is never seen again after 2 days. So why have they got that very expensive equipment? They bought up the world's supply of Blu-ray. They put it into a rack. They bought the technology, and rather than having them in racks that are really expensive kit, they now have them in Blu-ray discs. That energy consumption is watts per rack, rather than kilowatts. So there's all this different types of data, and like every industry, I'm sure yours is no different. You got a whole certain amount of data for data protection and compliance reasons. Why all that somewhere where the energy is more expensive, where labour is more expensive, and I have to get a dig in. That's why a lot of the stuff is going up to Scandinavia.
Right.
It's further from the market, but it's cheap energy.
Okay, just while I'm looking up for other questions, sorry, there's one there. Yeah.
Hi, Des O'Toole from Quilcha. It's a comment, very short, for the gentleman that asked the query of Adrian about the price of the biomass, which energy. The very attractive contract T&Cs would be confidential, but if you want to come up to me after and have a chat, we'll see what we can do for you. Thanks.
Well done. Well done. I'll ask one other question just in relation to prices. We have Eugene here, and I know I'm conscious that very many of the companies here use a lot of electricity. There's quite a lot of new risks being introduced for the suppliers in that new market that you outlined. How do you think they're going to price that risk? Are they going to increase their prices to cover those risks, or how is it going to play out? What's the current opinion on that?
I suppose actually most of the current contracts have clauses in the contract to say that if larger users take a different amount of electricity than they actually have contracted for, that a penalty clause can happen. They're not currently implemented, and I suppose there's a risk, I would say, that if you're a very volatile customer, a supplier may start looking at those clauses a bit more. I don't think there'll be an initial change in price, but I do think there'll be a risk that if you are very volatile, that your supplier might come back and have a chat with you about it.
Very good. Okay, so a good case for being able to manage your power and forecast your energy use. So I think that's it. Don't see any hands go up. I'm sure you're all looking for a coffee. We're going to let our 4 speakers off the hook now, but just a reminder that we have some exhibitors outside. We have a couple of funders out there who are happy to fund projects. I'm delighted to see some transport operators, Balalock and Virginia out there. A number of people who are talking about power quality and helping you with managing your demand, and obviously the wide array of energy efficiency in it.